Intro.
All right. Okay. You want me to, you know, you don't want me to start over. I can record it with her and give a good intro. All
No,
right.
you're okay. Let's get
Thanks.
started, y'all. So it's such a pleasure for y'all to have me. Once again, I'm B. Carroll, a registered dietitian. So I do specialize in normalizing nutrition without restriction because the rule of thumb, or just to know that food is going to be the longest relationship that you would ever have. And so it shouldn't be that you have to restrict, that you have to feel bored with food. Food should still be exciting. You shouldn't have to feel as if you have to avoid the comforts or the traditional foods. And so we really want to practice a philosophy of 80/20 worth of eating. And so what does that mean? Is that you work on building small, sustainable habits. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen really quick. Let me see if I could share. Let me double check. Can y'all see that?
You got it.
Awesome. So when it comes to building our 80/20%, so working with me, I help people with building this like week after week. But when we think about what is 80/20, how do you normalize nutrition, still satisfy and get the nourishment in the body without limiting socializing with family? Going out with your girlfriends or your homeboys, having the grandkids over, going to a birthday party, or just having something because it tastes good. When we think about general rule, no matter what you may be diagnosed with or any comorbidities or family history, when we think about the foundation, and the foundation is the plate method, and that's balance. Balance on the plate. Okay. And so I'm going to scroll up here and we're going to talk about like what is the plate method? Well, let's say for instance you have a 9-inch plate. We should know that we should actually have a border around the food. We should not pack our food to the rim of the plate. I get some people, especially during the holidays, I was looking at those plates and I would say the people had the benefit of eating with the dietitian for the holidays. Yep. And it was kind of fun. I want to say this because this was funny because everyone knew that I was, and most people are like, "Oh, B, I don't eat this way all the time." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm off the clock." But what caught me was that no one had leftovers until I got hungry again. And the moment I got up, everybody followed me for leftovers. I thought that was hilarious. I don't even know if they noticed that I noticed that, but I was like, no one got leftovers. And no one got dessert until I decided to get dessert. And I say this because I get so much ridicule of like, B, you're a dietitian. You shouldn't eat that. And I'm like, no, I live a balanced life without restriction. So one of the biggest things, like, how do we actually build the plate? And the plate should be have a composition of nutrients. So let's say, for instance, we're suffering from like hormonal issues or weight loss issues or diabetes or heart health issues or prostate. Well, this fundamental thing, if you think about it from how much vegetables am I putting on the plate compared to protein and carbs, we could really satisfy a lot once we think about dun 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 the plate and actually breaking it down. So a lot of people think about, oh man, like I think a plate I saw this week was, oh B, I had two vegetables and I was like, okay, great, where were they? They had mashed potatoes, chicken, and corn. And I said, okay, well, those are two starches. So I want to show y'all this right here. So when we think about the plate, this half here, right? And this half here, all of these are carbohydrates, every single one of them. But it's really the quality of the carb. So these are non-starchy, fibrous, and these are starchy, high in carbs. But they're all carbohydrates. So I get a lot of people to be like, B, I don't eat sugar. And I be thinking in my head, I never knew anybody that ate a bag of sugar. And usually it's usually like my little sarcasm there. But for the most part, most people think that if I eliminate bread, crackers, and pasta, that I'm eliminating carbs. Well, we shouldn't eliminate anything. We need carbohydrates as the energy source. We need protein as the building block. And then we need fat as the insulator, and then also too, it regulates our hormones just as much as protein does. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into this here. And how do we break this down to make this realistic? And then to make it easy. And I would say for a lot of people, I get a lot of people to be like, okay, B, I want to do the right things. And a lot of y'all may actually relate to this statement, but they're like, but I really don't know what to do. By the time somebody tells me what I should do, I have to do all this research to do it. And by that time, I'm just over it. I just go back to my baseline. So this is a really great guide because I've come to realize if people know what to do or at least have some sense of direction, they're more likely to do it. So breaking this down in what is half the plate? What does that look like? These are our non-starchy vegetables, or we would call our fibrous vegetables. So we want half the plate to look like this. And then usually when I work with people in the beginning, and let's say they may be a meat and a potato person, well, I usually say let's add some color. Let's add color to the plate. Let's make the plate exciting. When we go into like our lean, like what is 1/4 of an actual protein, that's 3 to 5 ounces of a protein in that little corner here. And then what is our carbohydrates? A lot of people, once again, I don't eat rice. I don't eat pasta. No, you eat sweet potatoes. You eat potatoes. You eat corn. You eat green peas. These are starchy. So these are still carbohydrates, but we still need them. But this is how you balance the plate. Any questions before I move forward from here? Are we all kind of digesting this pretty well?
I want to see a show of hands of who already does this plate method or has heard of this plate method. Raise your hands.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Can
Nice. That's
we?
awesome.
Okay. All right.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So I love this. Okay. Look at y'all. Y'all are some overachievers. That's what I'm talking about. Look at y'all.
Yeah, but that was two questions. Heard of it and do it.
Okay. Who's heard of it? Who's
Boy,
heard
now
of the plate?
she said, boy, she said, tell the truth.
Okay. Who's heard of it? Raise your hand. We're trying again. All right.
Who actually practices? That's the question.
Okay. Who really practices this?
Okay.
Does sometimes count?
Man, when they say sometimes doesn't count, I think they made a song for that.
Okay. Okay, so it does.
That's
I
good.
will say, and that honestly, that's a really great question when it comes into like a segue of like just the overall next topic of how do we stabilize the body? So, has anybody started off with like working out in that instance? Okay.
Working out? Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Are we enjoying the process?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you feel sore afterwards?
Sometimes.
Okay. And then would you say that you're properly eating after you work out in a sense of I am restoring the body and nourishing the body afterwards? Do we think that way?
Mhm.
Mm. Mm.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to refuel your body.
Um,
How do you
well, you have
refuel
to,
it, D? How do you refuel your body after exercise?
well, that statement is actually putting the cart in front of the horse. You first have to fuel your body before you work out.
Mhm.
And then
Okay.
you actually,
Okay, so
Ah,
so
you actually,
what
you
should you eat before you work out?
all right, man. That's the question I wanted somebody to ask. I got you. Let me go ahead and pull it up, okay?
Okay.
So that is the question right there. What do we do? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And it's simple. Like it's not hard. It's not strenuous. So when it comes to why nutrition matters, especially with strength training. So we have two separate things when it comes to overall wellness, and especially with like y'all's life cycle with the group of audience that's currently here, virtually. We have to work out or keep the body in motion because a body in motion stays in motion. Or you hear the other phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Mhm.
So we want to, in addition to balancing the plate, because balancing the plate becomes like the basis. That becomes like the golden rule when I make the plate or when I actually have even like a snack. And we'll talk about that as well. We want balance, okay? But 70 to 80% of what we do should be nutrition, but a lot of people forget about the actual fitness part of it. Okay, so why does nutrition matter? Because we want to make sure that we gain muscle and retain muscle. So the older we get, our body stops synthesizing protein as it once it did. So we have to make sure we have the proper nutrition and the right movements to get the body moving and grooving. So you want stronger bones, stronger joints, balanced hormones. And I'm going to segue really quick because this has been a topic that I've had from the past 2 weeks with some of my women. So, because I'm not really sure what the age group is from the population, but I would say like, let's say that we're in perimenopause, and y'all keep this private to yourself, so just take it with a grain of salt if this relates to you. So if you're in perimenopause or menopause, and we're not doing hormonal replacement therapy, we have to think about that as well, that our body once worked with this tool, but our body is no longer working the way that it used to. So we still need that tool for us to work properly. So if our body is not making the hormone, we should really consider replacing it. And I want to say this just to advocate, especially to minorities, is that at 35 to 40, we should be getting our hormones checked to make sure that we are not deficient in anything. And it is not normal to be, we should not normalize hot flashes. We should not normalize not being able to go to sleep or waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and can't go to sleep, or even just like how it changes the mood. That has a lot to do with just needing to replace hormones. I wanted to say that, so hopefully that resonated with someone. But working out helps balance the hormones in the metabolism as well. And it also too sustains energy throughout the day, as well as release endorphins. Okay, cool. All right, so what we're going to talk about is protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So once again, going back into how do I balance the plate, but what are truly the macronutrients and why do they matter? So proteins, it helps support muscle repair, retention, and recovery. We need protein. So I get a lot of people, and I'm just going to say this, especially like the older we get, a lot of people stop eating protein, and then our sweet tooth starts to like increase, right? We have to focus on protein. So I would say if anybody thought of anything or picked up anything today, it's like, how do I prioritize protein at every meal so that I can sustain, so that I can recover, and so that I can be able to have a healthy immune system? Protein is vital the older we get. Carbohydrates become a bit troublesome the older we get because we don't want our blood sugars to spike here, but we can't avoid them because we need the fuel. So these are like some examples of what that looks like, of how can we get this in, maybe some yogurt and some hemp seeds or some granola or a fibrous berry like a blueberry, or you could do a protein drink with some collagen, and then like some chicken or some beef. How do we get clean quality carbohydrates in? Fruits, oats, brown rice, sweet potatoes, legumes, or even like a quinoa, which is a grain that has amino acids in it, like a protein. It's just not a complete protein. And then fats. I get a lot of people to be like, B, I don't eat fat because I don't want to get fat. And I'm like, well, fat doesn't make you fat. Bad fat causes like cardiovascular issues, but good fat helps your body regulate, helps clean out the bad fat in the body because of our HDL levels. And then how do you get this in? So you can either cook with the fat or eat a fat. And so for my snack before our session, I had guacamole from an avocado, a fresh one, with carrots. And that was my snack. So I had a healthy fat right before I got in here. Cool?
Mm.
Awesome. So when we think about like, because the one of the questions is like, how do I fuel the body before working out? And then how do I fuel the body after a workout? So we're going to use this education as an interchangeable like information where it can be used as far as like how do I also to manage my day-to-day life with food? How do I get this in? Because protein is vital, but in today's world, you get a lot of people to talk about a keto diet. I'm not talking about keto, I'm talking about balance. We still need protein, we still need carbs, and we still need fats. We don't just need one macronutrients, we need them all. So, with that being said, let's say, for instance, like day to day, if we're not eating 3 meals a day, my recommendation is like, could we get a protein drink in so that we do not skip a meal? Let's say, for instance, if you're like, I just really don't like breakfast. Well, maybe we could start the day off with like a Greek yogurt, some nuts, some granolas, and some fresh fruit. Well, I really don't know what to eat for dinner. Okay, we can go with the plate method. Let's focus on what is our protein, our fibrous carbs, and then our starchy carbs. And then let's just build from there. So, no matter if you're in your 30s, your 40s, or beyond, hormones changes. Your muscles are going to change and are going to be less responsive. So, how do we prioritize protein? Because it is so important. Quality protein. So this one here, this answers the question, especially for my people that are working out or the people that we want to get moving and grooving. And I also too have like information for y'all as well there with just how to move and groove at home without the gym. So let's say for instance, like what is the importance of like a pre-workout? Well, we want to be able to give our body enough energy to actually sustain throughout the workout versus our body working fasted, which a lot of people do. They try to work out fasted. Oh, man, I don't have an appetite. Man, I'm just trying to squeeze in this workout. Well, what happens when we don't prioritize eating before, the body gives us about 12% of stored energy that's in the muscles. It releases it, but then the body has to keep releasing things into the system. So by the time you finish the workout and you eat, your body's like, well, shoot, I got to replenish. I got to replenish the storages that I used. And so you end up not outworking your workout because you're going to still either maintain that weight or gain some weight after that workout. And so I get a lot of people's like, I don't understand. I don't even eat a lot and I just keep gaining weight. It is because we're not prioritizing the plate method, 3 meals a day. And
Mm.
if you're working out, you cannot outwork your diet. Okay. After the workout, you have about 30 minutes to 60 minutes to replenish. You have to replenish like the your muscles. So before our session today, I worked out and then I had my snack so that I could get some protein in so that I could satisfy my needs because I did upper body. Okay. And the reason why is because depending upon what you're doing, and I'm going to give y'all some exercises too, um, so that we could do some of these things at home, or you could do it with your partner, or you could do it with like some of your friends and stuff. But the reason why is because like our muscles are like little bundles of like thread that you would thread some pants with or so. And when you're working out, you start to tear them, which is normal. But the thing is, they need to repair afterwards so that you can actually build the muscle density and not cause your muscles to break down because you're not giving it exactly what it needs. So, before our workouts, we need to provide energy and preserve the muscle so that we don't break down the muscle during the workout so that we could get some energy. That's why easily digestible things, not overly fat things and not high fiber, because you don't want food stuck in the stomach. That's going to be too slow. So something that's just easy to go through the body, that the body could easily turn into nourishment, that goes right into the energy phase. And then after you work out, we have to rebuild the muscle and replenish the glycogen stores. Okay. And so funny story. I had a session with one of my guys, and I remember like our session starts. I'm like, man, what were you doing? And he was like, oh, I was working out. And I said, oh, okay, great. What are we about to eat? And he was like, oh, I was just going to do our session. And I was like, our session is an hour. I said, well, the session's only 40 minutes. I said, you better get home and go eat. And he's never skipped another source of protein after working out because the RD stopped that session really fast because we want to sustain the body with what it needs. So once again, here's some easy ways that we can replenish the body, like with the whey protein, some smoothies, some berries, and some oats, or like turkey, sweet potato wrap or so, or like a Greek yogurt, granola, and some fruit. Um, there's a topic that I want to.
Before you go on in the chat, so a protein drink is fine after a workout, or what do you think about drinking it like that? I know you said smoothie with whey and berries and oats, but
Yeah. So whey is like a protein powder. I'm gonna give you my honest response to that.
mm-hmm.
Preferably, I would say powder is better than the pre-liquids, and that's only because if we don't look at the label, especially with the amount of oils that they put in stuff. So like our plant-based oils, like soy oil, canola oil, sunflower seed oils, when they put those in ingredients, they're really saturated in fats, and it causes like buildup of cholesterol in the body.
Okay.
So that kind of goes into
Okay.
like one of those things where we have to read the label. So some of the protein shakes that I refer out is like OWYN. I think it's OWYN. That's one that I've looked at here recently. That's I would say price effective, right? Because there are some other ones that are just like ridiculously expensive. But I would say that's one that I've been able to refer out no matter what the income bracket is there. Yeah. So yes. And that's if you want to do liquid. Because liquid is easy, but it comes with a price if we don't read the label. So that's a whole nother topic. So I can't really answer that question without saying that one piece. Cool?
Cool.
So
Mhm.
you're saying if we work out in the morning, we're supposed to eat before I mean, some people go to the gym at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Do they eat at 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 o'clock?
So I
Well,
would because everybody's an individual, I try to approach questions like individually. So I would say for you and not people. Say for instance, if you don't have an appetite once you work out, which is normal, right? That is totally normal. I would say that would be one of those things where you need a protein shake and you should probably drink it right before you work out. So get yourself ready, make your protein shake, drive to the gym and then drink the protein shake like right before because it's going to be easily digestible, but you do need to nourish the body. Like you can't get in your car without gas. So you shouldn't be operating your body without fuel.
So you say my cup of coffee before my aerobics is not cutting it.
That is very toxic actually. Yeah. That's
Yikes.
actually yeah, it's actually not good. So caffeine has its benefits because it's going to give you that amount of energy. But to go deeper into like why I wouldn't do caffeine because it causes like gut issues, like it's an acid on an acid, but you're not getting sustainable energy there. Yeah, you should also to prioritize water as well, especially if you're a coffee drinker. So I usually say for like my coffee drinkers, give me like 4 ounces before the cup and 4 ounces after the cup. So you could do a protein coffee though. That's a real thing. Yeah, a protein coffee.
That's new too. I'm hearing more and more about protein coffees being sold.
Yeah, or you could just add a protein shake to your coffee. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
given like Starbucks, because
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks is nothing but like coffee with all these different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I would say an easy way, and I'll get to Miss Belinda up there. An easy way also too that some of my coffee drinkers do, in addition to the water before and afterwards, they put collagen in their coffee every morning. I got you, Miss Belinda.
Actually, that was going to be my question. I saw on one of your slides you had collagen, and I wanted to know the benefits of adding that because I've seen protein shakes that have collagen in them. And
Yep.
so, what's the real benefit behind the collagen?
So your body doesn't synthesize and make collagen like when you were younger. And
Mhm.
so you know how like your skin starts to sag and you start getting lines and stuff. Or you have aches and pains in your joints. That's because like your body isn't making collagen as you used to. So you need it for like elasticity in the skin and all
Yeah.
that. It helps you age. It helps you age slower. Yep. Did that answer your question, Miss Belinda?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, when I say that, I usually tell my mom, so I did a check on her supplements, and she was just like, I'm doing everything you told me. And I was like, Woman, you got a free dietitian. I was like, you should really utilize me for real. But let's get into whole food diets. But before I get into this right here and like how we break down like bone health, joint support, recovery, and hydration. Um, Going back into like the 80-20 philosophy. So this is building a good solid of 80. How do you build the plate? How do I satisfy the body if I'm working out or if I'm in motion? But then what is 20? So before I get into 20, because I don't want to leave that hanging, 20% to the 80 is living. And that means you have that flexibility of going to like your friend's house or going out to eat or having like that dessert that's so near and dear to your heart without sacrificing the foundation of nutrition. And the way I like to think about this is as such. You build a house with the foundation, no matter what the storm is, those four walls still stand because you have a strong foundation. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think someone asked a question about can collagen be restored with over-the-counter products? Um, yes. So that's going to be quality because not every product is the same. And then consistency. It's really about consistency is key. It doesn't change overnight, it changes over time because the body has to start synthesizing it and getting it into the body. So here, to answer that question about collagen, collagen helps rebuild connective tissues there. But going back to the 80% outside of supplementation, the goal is that we get 80% of nutrition orally through the mouth through food. So once again, how do I get more calcium in the body? That's going to be the plate method, ding, ding, ding. And that is half of the plate. You see that? Dark leafy greens, kales and collard greens and sardines. How do I get vitamin D? So I wanted to say this, but I do believe grief is a process for sure, especially with like a lot of the funerals. So in wintertime, vitamin D is so important. People should take vitamin D almost every day, especially if you don't get a lot of sun. But in the wintertime, you have to take vitamin D. And you have to take vitamin D with a source of fat that's going to be with the meal. You can't take that on an empty stomach because vitamin D helps with mental illnesses. And it never fails that wintertime, a lot of people, a lot of things happen in the wintertime. I'll just say that. Y'all can read in between the lines there. When it comes to joint support, how can I get some of these foods that are going to that's going to help with vitamin C, that's going to help with my immune system, but then also too, that's going to help with inflammation from the aches and the pains. I got some people that was like, B, man, when I wake up in the morning, I can't get up for like the first 10 minutes because I have aches and pains. So how can we once again satisfy half of the plate with the real nourishment that we need? And then recovery. How do we have foods that's going to be anti-inflammatory ingredients that's going to support hormone balance, that's going to support immunity, and that's going to support muscle repair. So for April, to answer that question about vitamin D, my recommendation is um, a vitamin D3 with a K2. That's going to also to help with calcium um, synthesis in the body as well. Those two ingredients, and then I would say just off of a safe like dosage, usually 2,000 IUs is safe for you to take that daily. Don't get into no 10,000 because we could be borderline like over taking a supplement there. You're welcome, April. So when it comes to something safe that I feel safe giving a broad group of people, 2,000 IUs, and I would do a D3 with a K2, but you have to have it with the meal. You cannot take that on an empty stomach. And the reason why, I'm gonna just put this out there. Hopefully y'all can review this and study it because it's a lot of jewels being dropped. There's two different types of vitamins, water soluble and fat soluble. The body could absorb water soluble vitamins without anything because your body's about 70% water. But fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, need a source of a fat to be absorbed in the body. So a lot of people think food is black and white, and it's not. There's so many nuances to food. And so I think that's important too, that if you're taking a multivitamin, A, D, E, or K, that you understand that you cannot take that without a meal. And then minerals should be broken up. Like you shouldn't take a magnesium with an iron. If you're taking an iron pill, you should not be taking you should not be eating any type of dairy. Anything that has calcium in it will compete with iron, and calcium would always win. So those are some jewels right there. Cool. So getting back to recovery here, we got the omega-3 fatty acids. How do we recover, especially for like inflammation in the body? Our leafy green vegetables again, and then these are what we call our fibrous fruits. That's going to be our berries, our blackberries, our raspberries, our strawberries, and all that. Those are fibrous. And then hydration. I would say in my older population, I get a lot of my people that are dehydrated the older that they get. And so it's like, how do I drink more water? I would say you could put fruit in your water. You can do like a flavor enhancement. But we can't live off of coffee. We can't live off of black tea. We have to drink water. And that's really important in my older women. That's super important. Okay. So training days versus rest days, what does that look like? It kind of gives you like a little breakdown of a menu,
Okay.
breakfast, lunch, a snack, and a dinner. Training,
Before, I'm
ma'am,
sorry. Yeah, before you move on to that, can we go back when you were talking about vitamins? And you mentioned not taking calcium with
an iron pill. Yes, ma'am.
iron pill. So for me, you kind of hit home because I take everything at one time in the morning with a glass of milk.
Yeah.
So what's the no-nos about, like I take a multivitamin, I take calcium with D, I take zinc, and I take, oh, what else do I take? But anyway, I take all of them together in the morning with milk. So I shouldn't
I'm
be.
gonna I'm gonna answer that question in like broad terms only because like for HIPAA and just to satisfy my license because you're not seen by me as a
Okay.
patient. I would say rule of thumb, read the label. The label tells you to eat it, drink it, or eat it with the meal. The
Okay.
label says it. That's one of the biggest things. And then I get a lot of people that are probably just like you. That's very common because you are a part of the majority. They say, B, I'm gonna just take them all when I first wake up because I won't forget. And then what I always say is like your body can't take all of that in at one time.
Oh,
So
okay.
supplements should be broken up because your body doesn't need everything. So
Okay.
I always call it that you're either taking supplements for free or you have this expensive urine. You're just kind of paying them out. And
Okay.
then if you take too many supplements together, and this is another thing, like if you, because I don't know the labels, right? So I don't know all these details. Explain the interaction between calcium and iron. Okay, so when it comes to fast soluble vitamins, like so let's say D. Let's say your multivitamin has a D. Let's say you're taking a vitamin D at an upper limit and you may be taking a biotin or something else. And now you're taking so much of this fat soluble vitamin. Let's say you are taking it correctly, you can cause toxicity in the body because you're taking it incorrectly or you're taking too much at one time. So there's a bit of a science and an art to that. Did that help, Miss Belinda?
Did,
I
yeah,
have a
yes,
question.
it did. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, I have a question also on that. You mentioned the vitamin D3, 2,000 units. I
I
take 1,000 but I take calcium also, calcium tablets, pills also.
okay. What's the question?
And the question was, is one, you mentioned 2,000. How do you know whether one or two is that? I know don't want to take too much, but and I guess my doctor said that was okay. So I guess that's okay.
So I'm going to say if you're a medical professional, doctor said that's fine. To just reiterate what I said was is that I feel safe giving that number out as a broad spectrum like
Okay.
recommendation.
And the water, that target you have, that's like 80 ounces, isn't it? That's a lot of water.
Yeah. 65 ounces is minimal. So we should have at least 65 ounces a day. That's minimal. I
Be
mean,
all night.
64, 64. Sorry. 64 is the number, but that's minimal. So like we should at least make that target daily.
Okay,
But
here's a challenge. This
mhm,
group, if you do nothing else, drink that amount of water daily.
yeah. And let me say this too, because a lot of people get intimidated by water. Um, Very first thing is anything that's like high in caffeine is not hydrating. So that X's it out. So coffee, black tea, energy drinks, that's not hydration. That's gonna make you dehydrated. Any things that are high in like juices that are high in sugar, not hydrating, that dehydrates you. So those don't count. So let's say that you have water and it's infused in fruit, or you have water with an herbal tea, or if you have like I would say sometimes like with my tea packages, if I get super bored of water, I just put like my little tea bag in there and it's like a herbal tea. I do like a ginger lemon tea or something or hibiscus. And I just put that in my water. It just infuses a taste. And it gives it a little umph there. Um, I know someone asked a question about explaining the interaction of calcium and iron. So let me paint this picture in your head. What about green tea to answer that really quick? It'd be a non-caffeinated green tea, but then a caffeinated green tea could replace a coffee in the morning if you really need caffeine. But to be hydrating, it would be a green tea without caffeine. So let me paint this picture in your head about the differences of or the interactions of iron and calcium. So let's say that we have a steel knife and we have a boulder. The boulder is calcium and the knife is the actual iron itself. Now I want to like stab the boulder. What's going to happen naturally? The tip of it's going to break. So calcium is always going to win if iron and calcium had to compete. So you want to give yourself 2 hours in between milk, cheese, anything that's dairy or that's high in calcium if you're going to take an iron pill. Yep. And if there's anybody here that's anemic or runs with anemia, I always say get a slow release iron pill, like a slow release one. You can find them on Amazon for like $3, $4. And take it at bedtime with like a small glass of milk or something. Or you could pair it with a vitamin C supplement. That'll help your body absorb it. Honey in the green tea is totally fine. It's not the fact that things are good or bad. We really want to think about balance in the body, not this is good or bad. So when we think about the plate, how do I get fibrous vegetables on the plate? Or if we're thinking about hydration, how do I ensure that I'm getting base level 64 ounces no matter what, in addition to all the other stuff I may be drinking that's not hydrating? It's really the balance. It's not the fact that we can't have it, but what are we doing for the entire day? So I always tell my patients, you think about the entire day. So you're going to be like, okay, how did I start the day off? But how did I end the day? And then overall, what did the whole day look like? So to keep going, I will say this is one that's super important. I can't assume that everybody here is in menopause and we're not having a menstrual cycle. But for the people that may end up having like a conversation here where where you're still in perimenopause or you're having a menstrual cycle, I will say this, I get the joke of a lifetime because I, as a woman, and sorry if this is TMI to the men that are on here, and then all the other men that have women, this is very helpful. I schedule my life around my cycle. I really do. It makes for such a happy life.
Mm.
Especially with understanding how the body changes in every cycle. Um, and as the body changes, because as women, our hormones change 4 times in a month, right? And so, what the body is like depleting, we have to replenish. And so, I always say this phase right here, this luteal phase, man, it be taking women out. And I always know when my woman's in her luteal phase because she comes on the session talking about, B, I'm not about to do this. I don't feel like this. And I just say, where are you at on your cycle? And I'm like, oh man, you're in your luteal phase, woman. You'll get out of that. However, how do we bring this back to nutrition? That's one of those other things. So say for instance, like some of y'all are still menstruating and you know that you menstruate maybe once every 3 months. Well, in this phase right here, our body needs to have digestible food that's a bit easier on the body to digest. When we get into this follicular phase, we're going to get our strength back up, but we have to replenish the iron that our body lost. We have to replenish like the actual like amino acids and all this, and then also two minerals here, like our B12s, our magnesiums, our seleniums, and all this, our zincs, our vitamin C's. We have to replenish here. And then in ovulation, that's where we need to have like a real strong hand on omega 3s, 6s, and 9s, because that's where a lot of women's skin starts to get dry. And then in our luteal phase is where like a lot of women start to get the cramps or the mood swings, or they may get super tired because the hormone is changing. Progesterone is actually increasing, which causes you to sleep really well. And so that's where we're going to need anti-inflammatory foods here. So this is like something that I really hold near and dear to my heart. And that's just like cycle syncing. I think that is just such a great topic that it like women should really know this about themselves. And I get the benefit that like I don't bloat. So I'd be like it totally works. I don't bloat or anything. Um so when it comes to like inflammation, like inflammatory foods, especially if I'm gonna put it like this. If y'all wake up and you're like, oh my God, baby, I'm like, man, I got these aches and these pains. Baby, we need to have some more inflammation fighting foods. We need some salmon. We need some collard greens. We need some like kale. We need some broccoli. We need to take some omega 3s. Baby, we need to put stuff in the body that's going to cause that inflammation to idle down. So we have to give our body what it needs. And then also to like lowering our cortisol levels, lowering the stress level in the body so that we can be like calm and easy and like easy going and stuff there. So, to wrap this up, in a sense of what are some of the nutrition mistakes that people do, we underfuel. I get a lot of people, B, I don't eat, or B, I don't eat that. What are you doing to fuel the body? So, it's not about good or bad. It's about balance, composition, knowing the body, and then really prioritizing diversity on the plate. So, how do we recover? We can't over rely on supplements. Supplements are meant to bridge the gap of what we cannot eat orally. We should not be living off of supplements. Or let's say that our protein drinks or like our protein bars, or those are contingency plans for the days that we can't control life. And then for anybody that is watching that will watch later, it's like the major key to having a life of wellness and sustainability is you have to plan in advance. You cannot wing nutrition. That means before the week start, what does that look like? I'm going to go grocery shopping one day. I'm going to prep the other day, and then I'm going to cook another day. So it's almost a four-step process. What's my grocery list? When am I going grocery shopping? When am I going to prep and cut some stuff? And when am I going to cook? And you could probably prep and cook and make that 2 days, but you cannot do this without really being mindful and truly planning out what we're eating for that week, that day, because what is accessible is what you're going to put in the body. So insight in mind. Out of sight, you're making bad decisions because you don't have anything to satisfy the hunger cravings, the hunger cues. And if we don't feed ourselves, then we start making poor decisions because we're ravenous. We're not making good decisions there. So these are really quick, easy prep ideas of like how could I sustain the body and have balance, because it doesn't matter what is on the plate when we're thinking about how can we do this. Any questions? Okay,
I
cool.
needed you 20 years ago.
Yeah, what better time than the
Mm-hmm.
present? But 20,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, it's like 20 years ago, I was still in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only been in the game for going on 14 years. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I was a little short.
That's
Yeah.
I,
all right. This is great.
I
Still
do
fun.
have
Um,
a I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If
And
we
here
can jump
and here
jump
here goes your supplements here. But yes, ma'am. Yes, Miss Mary.
Okay, my question is kind of like what Belinda said. I take almost all those vitamins that you said except iron. And like Belinda, I just take them all at one time so that I don't forget them. But I always take it with food, but I'm saying I'm hearing that you shouldn't do this. How would you recommend we split them up?
Um, that was a fully loaded question. So I'm gonna answer, and mind you, so being that I'm a registered and a licensed dietitian, I can't really answer this question as an individual like case. And that's because number one, Miss Mary, I don't really know your entire makeup, so I can only answer this like just in general terms. The very first thing is read the bottle. That's the very first thing. The bottle is going to say, eat this with a meal. Or you could eat this on an empty stomach. That's number one. So that's going to be rule of thumb. To break it up, that's a hard one because you need somebody to help you do that. And I can't do that without really knowing your entire makeup there.
Got
I
it.
would say if you're taking a multivitamin, um, to group a multivitamin, I would group that with a B12 or B complex, which is going to be your energy vitamins, or a pre and a probiotic. And then for lunchtime, if I was to group anything, I would do a vitamin D with a K2. And then that's a good place to put a B vitamin there too. Because most people have a drop in their energy during the mid of the day. So depending upon if that's somebody, I would put a B vitamin there. Um, if I was taking an iron pill, I usually like taking iron pills right before bed, just in case you have like any um sensitivities to the gut, you can't feel it while you're asleep. Magnesium is important, so I would take magnesium at dinner time. because that'll help relax the muscles. There's three different types of magnesiums. I usually just do like a magnesium complex where you get all three types of them. But you want to separate magnesium from iron as well. If if I got sick, I would take vitamin D with the zinc. If I had inflammation or my joints was hurting, I would take an omega-3 with the zinc at bedtime. Um, Pre and probiotics are super important so that we can have regular bowel movements. Yeah, does that help?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, you had me right there. I was trying to figure out how to answer that question.
There you go. Good answer. Question from April: is it beneficial to eat based on your blood type?
Yes and no. So I have the E for your blood type. I'm O. So if she read that book, I'm an omnivore, and I really do like meat too. When it comes to antigens, I will say just with me being an RD, especially being licensed and registered, there are benefits when we think about the antigens of the blood. So I would say there are benefits to understanding what your body can synthesize or what your body can't. I think that does help. So there is some validity in that book for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Has everybody had a chance to answer or ask questions and get them answered? And our group
I have a
wants.
question.
I have a
Go ahead.
question.
Okay, go for it.
What about honey in green tea that you make at home?
Honey is fine, just like sugar's fine, or just like raw sugar or brown sugar. It's really about the frequency and the balance. It's not the fact that you can't have honey, right? So honey's totally fine. But are you having honey throughout the entire day? So to be more so quantity where that comes in. Did that help answer your question, Mr. Walter? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep
Yes, it did. Thank you.
not a problem. I'm gonna keep moving because I do want to make sure because y'all have really great questions, just really great question. But I do want to make sure that I leave y'all with this as well. So once they send this out to y'all, y'all have it. And excuse me because it does say women. About 90% of the people I work with are women. But men are a little bit differently. But it is still all interchangeable there. And I want to say this to the husbands too. Let me make sure I say this because a lot of my women do a lot of the cooking. I love it when my man do cooking, but as an RD, no matter what the nutrition is, if we're just thinking about the balance, men, because prostate cancer is very strong in melanated people, fiber, 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 and water, so that we can ensure that we're also too protecting y'all as well. Y'all's prostate is important, and being constipated and not having a bowel movement every day is not normal. Just so y'all know that. That's important. But anyhow, as we continue, these are exercises that y'all can do at home, just in case if you don't have an access to a gym or know what to do when you get to the gym. So just to go back up, this is like a simple schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then it's like some examples there. But these are things that you can do at home with just like a 3 to 5 pound weight, right? And so I want to make sure that I leave y'all with this so that we can also to nourish the body, but then we can also to maintain the integrity of the body as well, like with our posture, the way that we move. And so a body in motion stays in motion, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So this just goes a little bit deeper here. How do you prioritize protein? These are really great examples of how to prioritize protein. And we want protein at every meal. How do you get it there? It doesn't have to just be meat. It could be a yogurt. It could be a Brussels sprout. It could be almonds, or it could be eggs. Pasteurized eggs are the best eggs because they graze the ground and they eat the bugs and the worms. That is the why, okay? That's the why. A lot of people like to talk to me about eggs. It's about the egg that you get. How do you get nutrient-dense foods? Once again, half of that plate is fibrous vegetables and fibrous fruits, where that 1/4 of a carb is starchy carbs and starchy fruits. So what are the good stuff? This is the good stuff right here. How can I get half of my plate to be colorful? How can I maximize the vitamins and the minerals that come from the colors and the diversity of the fruits and the veggies on the plate? And then how do I get omega-3 for anti-inflammatory properties? How can I get some salmon or some chia seeds or some nuts even as a snack? How can I get this in the body? And then lastly, too, if I needed to supplement there. Okay. So overall, balance the plate, fiber and antioxidants, a good amount of protein, and unprocessed carbs. This is a proper plate, but I want to say this too. It also too doesn't matter if it's a casserole, if it's a stir fry, if it's a meatloaf, if it's a bowl. When you still think about it is, did I plan my fibrous vegetables? I have my protein and what's my carb? It could be any of these things. We just want to make sure that when we prepare the plate, we think about balance and nutrient density. Is that fair?
Fair.
Awesome. So I just want to make sure that there's a healthier you and a happier you. And this all just takes time and consistency. It doesn't have to be boring. You don't have to sacrifice, your traditional recipes, but I would say that y'all are beautiful. I actually really enjoy talking to y'all because there's some people that are in their 30s and 40s and I'm trying to get to y'all's age, right? And so times were different when y'all were younger. Y'all had more foods, there were less GMOs, like GMOs wasn't even around. And so in today's world, there's a lot of epidemics too. So I would even say if y'all have grandchildren, be mindful of what you're giving them as treats, like what are you feeding them and what are you even modeling there as well? So we can help turn this epidemic around for these kids. Miss Valencia?
Yes, I wanted to know if you could recommend, because I think you said that all of the over-the-counter collagens work the same. So I was wondering if you had an over-the-counter collagen that you would recommend, if you're allowed to say.
Yeah, Vital Cal is one of, let me put it in the link for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Ooh, she scared the mess out of me. One of my daughters just popped up. Give me one
Oh,
second.
okay, okay.
Boy, that door open. I think I forgot she was here. Well, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a little bit more of y'all's time and I'm actually just gonna send y'all the links of the stuff that I refer. Would that help?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Not a problem. Give me 1 second to do that, okay?
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it is my pleasure. It is totally my pleasure for sure. So I'm gonna send the collagen first. Give
Okay,
me
thank you.
yeah.
I'm going to ask this group if they have any other nutritional needs or stuff that maybe we can ask you to come back one more time in this year. How's your start? How you were starting your group sessions? How's that going? Have you gotten started?
So I haven't gotten started yet because when I say that I don't even think I realized how many people got on my calendar at the beginning of this year. I was like, I think I've been jam-packed since the end of the year. It's not a bad problem to have.
Yeah.
But these New Year resolution people kind of kick your butt after a while.
Hi.
Hi, my
How are
name's
you?
Oh, good.
Oh, great.
You didn't tell your name?
I was about to.
Oh, you were?
My name's Nyla.
Nyla, hello, Nyla. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Thank you.
What does your mommy do?
Um, mm,
I'm listening. What does your mom do?
she helps us be healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
what she's doing for us too.
all right, so I sent the B complex. So that's one that's gonna have all the B's inside of there. That's gonna help with cognition, metabolic health, and energy support there.
Okay.
So that D3K2.
Okay.
I just nothing barely
Okay.
hit.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
Are you sharing your deck with us this time or no?
yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. Yes, ma'am, of
Okay.
course.
All
Listen,
right. Thank
I
you.
can't interrupt, and disturb all this without, giving to you for sure.
All right. Thank you. We are all excited. Well, if we are interested in a group whenever that comes and how we might do it with you virtually. So don't forget to reach back out to us.
I got you, Miss Lisa.
Okay.
I got you. Um, and if that helps you out, I really hope the biggest thing that y'all take away from this session is to really please stay hydrated. Read the bottle to your supplements and make sure you're taking them correctly. Because outside of what you eat, it's really about what you absorb, and then prioritize protein at each meal. Protein isn't just a meat. There's different sources of protein for sure. And what I'll do is I'll also to include that as well. I'll include two extra documents of like what can you do for protein and what can you do for fiber.
Okay. That's wonderful.
And then if
Thank
y'all want to
you.
stay in touch with me, it is B Carroll RDN. So that is BEACARROLL on all platforms, or you can visit my website. That's honeybn.com. HONEYBN.com.
And I'll have that put in our
Okay.
communication that goes out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Japs, did you capture that so we can make sure there you go. There you go. Okay. There you go.
All right, y'all. It has been a pleasure. Also too, the things that y'all model is what you do to influence your community. So just remember, every bite you take determines like the life that you live. And so just really know that you have time until you don't have time. So it does not hurt to start today. And if you drop the ball and live in your 20s, just start back up and keep living in your 80s, right? So just understand there's balance to it. It's not so black and white.
This was
Excellent.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
Before y'all get done, let me send this slow release iron really quick.
Okay, we won't. Yeah, people who need to drop will drop. Japs and I will stay on so that the link is live and she'll capture all these links.
Nyla. Give me one. And this is the last one that I'm gonna drop for y'all. And that's gonna be the iron. When this is a slow release, and then you need to have it with like some type of vitamin C or like a citrus drink. If you don't have AAHRI, a vitamin C would be suffice. There you go. All right, y'all. It's been real.
Oh, it's been wonderful. Thank you, B.
It's my pleasure.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Now.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Thank you. Good session. Good night.
Good night.